and welcome to Josef's Model Railway and Toy Room. Thank you so much, as always, for joining me. Just a little bit of housekeeping. You don't need to like, follow, or subscribe to any of the videos that I put out there. I just put them out there where I can and have a holy jolly great time doing so. Now, today's video, it's not about the trains. We're going the other way. And we're going to have a talk about yes, indeed. Who didn't love making a sound similar to that in the 80s? Some could do it better than others. Now, Transformers. Forget the crane. He's in another video coming up later on. Don't worry about that. Now, with the Transformers, it's complicated. There are some here and there are some somewhere else. We're not going to go into too much detail at the moment. We're just going to talk about one in particular today, and it's not even a Transformer, and it is. Whew, how the heck does that thing work out? Well, let me have a quick chat to you about it. At the moment, we've got some of these Autobots, the good guys, Optimus Prime, all the likes of them, sitting over here, okay? And then we've got some of our Decepticons sitting over here. Although, as you can see, why is the Decepticon here? Well, we're not getting into any of that today. Don't panic. And it's quite a quick one, of course, today. Now, I've had quite a lot of Transformers arriving in the past 12 months, and they all need some looking at, and we'll get to all of them in time in a series of shorter little videos that will burst across and see how we're going to get that delivered. But in the meantime, though, we are going to be talking about, at the time of its inception, of course, the penultimate leader, and in my opinion, not that I'm into guns or anything like that, but whose gun certainly had the best tone to it. We are, of course, talking about the leader of the Decepticons, and I'm going to say this as well now. For anyone, I see people drive around today, and of course we've had the next generation and next generation and current generation and whatever generation of Transformers that have been released throughout the past, 30, 40 years, whatever it is. And people are obviously getting on board with different types of things and all the rest of them. Because I am a child of the 80s, so as a result, we're always talking about Generation 1 for the most part with me and the original one. So with all of those different variations, you'll often, to this day, 2025, this video's been shot, you'll be driving around the streets and there'll be someone driving a car that will respectively have a sticker on there reflecting Decepticon or Autobot. Are you a good person? Are you a bad person? I like to think I'm a good person, but through and through, it's Decepticons all the way for me. It's the purple V. It's what it's all about. I don't know what it is about that image that just gets me every time, or it's the fact that a lot of the Transformers themselves were just cool. I mean, Soundwave, the little Walkman, and that voice.
Come, Laserbeak. Unlike some of my other warriors, you never fail me. Soundwave, play back Laserbeak's findings. As you command, Megatron.
Was far more cooler than Blaster, which was the boombox from Autobots. And they had their little ejecting cassettes that come out of them. And we obviously have Soundwave here. This one actually is the reissue here that actually happens to feature Buzzsaw. Of course, Laserbeak was the one we all did love. Anyway, I transgressed very quickly about that. Because we got Optimus Prime over there. We had, apart from having our actual original Generation 1 Optimus Prime still in the box, $29.99. We obviously talked about in an earlier video about one of these recreation ones of the truck only. And I really love the idea about having it so I can at least always have one that is in its permanent robot mode, but also is one that we can quickly just take a few minutes and transform back into the truck so people can sort of see it without having to put their fingers on something that may be appreciating in value, so to speak. So I am a huge fan of the reissues. Again, this is an original Soundwave right here, and as I've just pointed to you just a moment ago, this is actually the reissue, and as you can see, it's pretty good. So if you want to get back into it, they can be had for a reasonably, to be fair, a fair price. I think a cost that is, if this was $30 when it's new, this was $60 when it's new. So it's kind of, with given the inflation of 40 years, you're probably not far off. There's a few little details in the packaging and the boxes that are slightly different, but for any child under 10 years old, you're still going to be blown away by it. Although, is it what you're watching on TV? Well, it is in this household. Okay, Optimus Prime, leader of the Autobots. And I always thought I'd love to have some of the key figures, a duplicate or another one of them, here as well on display in the robot mode that we know and love. And starting this journey off, it goes without saying, it would have to be the legendary Megatron. I love Megatron. The voice, the character, his attitude as a soldier, as a leader, as a warrior. And again, I'm not into a lot of this sort of stuff, but something about that voice and his way of doing things and commanding is legendary. The color palette that's used with the grays, it's just really speaks. If we're talking about the ultimate villains in the world, whatever shows or movies or whatever you're looking at, but certainly if we were doing a top 10 or something, in the top 3 has to be Megatron. And probably even my number 1. I mean, of all the bad people or villains and leaders in the world, it's got to be Megatron. Now, that is an original Generation 1 Megatron. We're going to come in a second and have a look at the slight problem I have with purchasing another one of these to do what I want to do with. So let's get the camera in now and check out what this is all about. Now this is what I call a camera angle. I like the idea we're being looked down upon by our superior overlords, and I just want to point out that while this is a generic clone of the legendary Devastator, which you can briefly see over here, which is made of the Constructicons.
Enough of this! Constructicons, merge into Devastator! Leave no trace of their insidious existence!
It's not the actual Transformer one. I just thought this is a big one that can be on display. It's got great detail, and for $50, it's almost impossible to go wrong. I will, however, just say this, though, if you're looking at getting it, it'll take you a while to put it together. It doesn't stand very well, and so much so that I think it looks just good the way it is, and I've never touched it since. However, it's not something you can quickly pull apart and transform. Also, it's also hindering me slightly to wanting to get Megatron out of the box at the back here. However, let's come in a fraction closer, and here we are. And of course, we'll just pop Soundwave out of the way just for a moment. And here he is in all his magnificent glory as we see him on the cartoon itself in his robot mode, and looks truly menacing and imposing. And the thing, of course, is ironically, it's an unspoken thing about Transformers, is size relativity. 1 minute it's this size, then when it's transformed into a vehicle, things happen and then characters can get in. How could it be if it was this size and that size? That doesn't add up any more than where does Optimus Prime's trailer go when he transforms into a robot? These are questions where just enjoy it for what it is. But with the toy, as impressive as the toy is, here it is, the actual P38 gun itself. And as you can see, when it's in this mode, we've got the kick on it, we've got the scope, everything else, silencer. It looks fantastic. But for the most part, that means this mighty menacing robot is only transforming into something of this size in real life. So Optimus Prime is a truck. We can imagine how big a truck is, and he would transform. He would be standing 3-4 stories high. And in this situation, when he transforms from this, he's only ever still going to be about this tall. And in which case, if we come in closer to the picture, I'm not going to take him out of the box and transform him, but you can see that when he's in that robot mode, his legs split because of the handle for this. While it's true we have captured him, it just doesn't quite have his presence about him. And it just doesn't quite look as impressive as what this could be in a robot form, which is exactly what it is that we're trying to chase. Now let me introduce to you my latest edition, which happens to be one of these R.E.D. Transformers, which of course is Megatron. The R.E.D. stands for Robot Enhanced Design. So yes, it is a transformer, but it doesn't transform, if you understand what I mean. So basically, what we're seeing here, and we'll just bring it in a fraction closer for you to have a little bit of a peep at. So here we have delightful Megatron, as we know and love him, in his actual robot pose, with the gun there, and of course we'll take it out of the box in a moment. But you can see that while it doesn't transform, this seems like a far more fitting image to what we're seeing over here. However, if we look carefully, while the robot seems more accurate, it couldn't be a transformer because, for example, down in the crotchular area, if that's what we're going to call that, was the section where the trigger mechanism would be. And of course, on this one, we don't have that. But I think the idea of having something, I guess the other thing as well is picking up an original Megatron. Even the reissue is still money. It's not unreasonable. You certainly get a bit of change out of $150. But this is a much, much cheaper way to go. And for a robot that is basically just going to be on display, I think this is probably a great way to go. Now, they have done them with some other key characters as well. Again, I really like what they did with the Optimus truck-only version without the trailer. So I'm really more inclined to stick with that. And we're going to come and look at a couple of other Transformers later on, and they sort of tick the requirements I need. So I'm not going to say you're going to see more of these robot-enhanced designs, but I really think you can see what I'm getting at. So let's get this out of the box and see what it's all about. So not to disappoint you, but as you can see, this is a non-converting figure. And he's looking quite resplendent, it goes without saying there. Let's check this out, shall we? Here he is, or she, it's up to you. But really, the detail isn't that extraordinary per se. I guess it's just that it's in the right proportional size, which seems a little more appropriate. Again, for me, I'm not really interested in the additional weapons and configurations and things that come on board. It's just literally to have it on the shelf and pose it into how you'd like it to be. The material obviously is a plastic, but has that sort of rubber type of feel to it. So I think it's not a bad way to go if you're like me and looking for a little bit of a better character to be in position there. As tempting as it is to, oh, does this pop out? Does this fold out? No, you're not going to in any way be transforming it per se. However, even though it is quite enhanced, so they say, I think it lacks a bit of detail. But also, let's just remember, for the price of what you're paying for here at, I don't know, whatever it is, sort of about $50 or less Australian, it's a good model to have. Well, I think it is, because I can stand it there and it's basically on par, the same size as our Optimus Prime. Now, this looks like a fair battle to me in this type of configuration, and the weaponry seems right. Prime's blaster, the iconic sound and all the rest of it, and of course the goodies must save the day. That's generally how this thing goes. But Megatron's just with that, has just got that extra depth and sizing that just really seems that sort of devastating blow that's going to be delivered. Now, that being said though, now having these chaps just lined up there, this looks just the way it needs to be.
I would have waited an eternity for this. It's over, Prime.
Now, obviously, to complete what we're up to in coming videos, we need to see the sidekick, Starscream, Soundwave as well. We'll probably have another model for that. When it comes to the actual Autobots themselves, there's a few key ones I like. There's not really, I mean, Ultra Magnus I absolutely love, but I really am not in a hurry to get it out of the box. Realistically, these are the most important characters that need to be standing there at the time. So let's just get a couple of quick pictures of them together, or particularly Megatron here, and basically that's what it's all about. So if you're looking for a bit of a figure to stand that shows Megatron in all that gorgeous glory, this would be a good option for you.
Decepticons, retreat! It's Megatron, your leader!
Ah, yes. Now, this is a rather imposing figure, and it seems to fit quite right, because as Devastator forms into the combined series of Constructicons, or construction robots, of course, he towers across as the bigger robot. So, of course, this certainly seems quite passable. And also in that pose and always looking down like you're the person about to be obliterated, I think that's a great pose. And the good thing is, keeping it simple like that, it's very easy to clean and maintain. So no problems at all. I think it's an absolutely outstanding model there. And I think it's a good spot for him, as we've got the packaging of the original one behind, demonstrating him in all his animated glory. And then, of course, behind him is actually the P38 handgun there. And, of course, Soundwave here, which, again, will probably have Starscream and Soundwave standing beside him. But girls and boys, ladies and gentlemen, as always, I hope you're enjoying this high-definition look of my face. You can probably see some googlies up my nose too if you look carefully. But look, as always, thank you so much as always for joining me. I certainly look forward to seeing you in the next one. We've got a bit of a surprise with the trains in the next one. But until then, please do stay safe, and I look forward to seeing you in that next one. Toodles!
You belong to me. No. I belong to nobody!